I made a complete list of literally every single step you'll need to take to start your own small business. So many people spend years dreaming about starting, but never actually do because they don't know what steps to take. So today, I'm going to be going over everything, including planning out your brand, creating a website, social media marketing, making and shipping products, finances, logistics, sponsorships, and all the other confusing stuff that nobody actually talks about. If you don't know me, hi, my name is Sarah, and I've been running my own small business called Colorfully Sarah Shop full-time for the past 2 years. I started out on Etsy just selling digital cross-stitch patterns, but after 6 months, I was able to turn this into my full-time job. In this last year alone, I received over 9,000 orders and had so many amazing launch days. I've also grown my social media following to help drive traffic to my website and created an amazing community of people who support me and my art. This was not an overnight success story. This took years of work. So many mistakes were made, and I learned so many things since starting. A quick disclaimer before I start, I am not making this video claiming to be an expert or a millionaire. I'm quite literally just a girl who was able to turn her art passion into a full-time career, and I really want to help others do the same. Also, I wrote down every single topic that I'm going to be talking about today in this video and made a little checklist for you guys. So if you want to download this list and print it out and fill it out yourself, you totally can. You don't have to pay any money. You don't have to give me your email. I literally made this just to be a helpful free resource for you guys because I think this would have been really helpful for me when I was first starting. So first things first, before you even begin planning your small business, you have to ask yourself these 3 questions. What are your goals? Do you want this to be your full-time job? Do you want this to be more of a side hustle? How much time are you willing and able to put into starting up your business? And how much money do you have and how much money do you want to invest into your business? There's so much work that goes into starting your own small business, and a lot of people don't really think this through, and they end up just dumping a bunch of money into cute packaging or cute products, but they don't actually think about the big picture before they get started. You might have a really great idea for starting your own small business, but if you don't have enough money to actually make it happen, then it's not really possible. That being said though, you can start somewhere else and then work your way to that goal. Like for example, for my business, I didn't start out selling cross-stitch kits. I started selling just digital cross-stitch patterns. And then after a few months of selling digital patterns, I was able to take the profits and reinvest it into starting to sell cross-stitch kits. Okay, this is the hardest part of starting your own small business, but you have to pick a niche. When you're picking your niche, make sure, and I cannot stress this enough, that you pick something that you're actually passionate about. If you're sitting here and you're watching a billion videos and you're trying to come up with a business idea, but it's not something that you are actually passionate about and you're just trying to copy someone else's success, you're gonna have such a hard time starting your own small business. You need to come up with your own business and your own strategy, and then after you have your niche, now you can think about what products you want to sell within your niche. So for example, if you're a crocheter, do you sell digital crochet patterns? Do you sell finished crochet plushies, or a mix of both? It's a really good idea to try to find a balance between something that you enjoy making and something that your audience wants to buy, because although it's really important to be passionate about what you're making, that can't be the only thing driving your business decisions. The next thing to think about is, how are you going to get these products? So like stickers, for example, are you going to get a Cricut and make all of the stickers yourself, or are you going to outsource it and pay a company to make the stickers for you? And then you also have to think about how many products you want. And this will also depend on the type of product that you're selling. But in my opinion, I would err on the side of less product to start, especially if you have no idea how it's going to sell and this is like your first time doing anything. So many people get really excited and they buy a whole bunch of product thinking that it's all going to sell, but then it just ends up sitting on a shelf and it's a really big waste of money. The next thing you need to do is you need to create a name for your shop. Make sure that it's relevant to your brand and check to make sure that nobody's already taken it. I say make sure it's relevant to your brand, but mine is really not relevant to my brand. Like what I mean by that is I should have been something like Colorfully Sarah Cross Stitch, so that way you know I sell cross stitch patterns, but I'm just Colorfully Sarah, so if you saw Colorfully Sarah, you really would have no idea what I'm selling. So do better than me and actually pick a business name that explains what type of product you're selling. But before you get too attached to the name, make sure that you check and see if it's available on social media and check the domain. So like mine, for example, is colorfullysarahshop.com. Think about your brand color scheme or your vibe. What is special about your brand compared to other brands that are selling the same products? The next thing you want to consider is if you want to sell on Etsy or your own website or at in-person markets. I don't have any market experience myself, so I'll be talking more in terms of Etsy and your own website, but I would highly, highly, highly recommend Etsy to start for a couple reasons. This is what I did and it worked out really well for me. The best thing about Etsy is, yes, they do have a lot of fees, but you don't need a big startup cost to start. If you start your own website, like on Shopify, for example, you have to pay between $30 to $40 a month just to keep the website up. And if you're not getting a ton of sales, then it can quickly become pretty expensive. Etsy is completely free to start. They just take a percentage of your profits. The other benefit benefit to Etsy is it has its own marketplace, so it brings a lot of customers to you without you having to advertise for yourself. If people aren't buying your products on Etsy, there's probably an even smaller chance that they're going to buy it off of your own website. Etsy is a good way to test if people like your products and see how they respond to them without investing too much money up front. And then of course, if your products are selling well on Etsy, then you can go and open up your own website. A lot of people also, in addition to having an Etsy and their website, choose to do in-person markets. Now, I don't want to talk too much about this because I don't really have experience doing it, but I do think that there are a ton of startup costs that come with doing markets. You not only have to pay for your entire display setup, but you also have to pay a booth fee and travel fees, and there's just so many more fees that go into it. So I do think, in my opinion, the best way to start is just with an Etsy. The next thing we're going to do is we are going to find 3 to 5 different accounts on whatever social media you want that inspire you. They don't necessarily have to be part of your niche, but they just have to be accounts that inspire you. And for each account that you follow, write down what specifically about that account inspires you. Is it the color scheme? Is it the products? Is it the type of content that they post? Is it how they post the content? Is it their brand identity? It's really important to pick multiple different accounts that inspire you, because what you don't want to do is just look up to one account, because you may end up accidentally copying them if you are just focused on one person. And then the last thing you want to think about is, what kind of account do you want this to be? Do you want this to be more of like a personal business account, or like a strictly business account where you don't talk about yourself at all? Do you want to do talking reels where you share your voice, or do you want to show what your face looks like? If you're looking for a suggestion, I would really recommend using your voice or showing your face, because this reminds people that there is a real human behind the brand and people want to connect with other people. This isn't something you have to do. Like, there's tons of artists out there who never show their face, but if you're not really sure, I do think showing your face helps. Now it's time to create your social media accounts. Even if you don't plan on posting on there yet, just go ahead and create the accounts now before the names get taken. I think the main 3 would be Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. Another piece of advice, don't tell anybody that you're starting these accounts. That's what I did. I didn't tell anybody that I was starting a small business. Just start the accounts and keep them a secret. This is good for 2 reasons. One, if you're like me and you're afraid of people judging you, just nobody has to know, keep it a secret, and you won't feel so stressed when you're posting because you won't feel like people that you know are judging you. And the second reason it's really helpful is because you can dedicate this social media page to just entirely stuff for your brand. This is so important because when you open up this Instagram page, it will really just be a page for your business. It won't be a personal page where you see your friends' stuff and you just get lost scrolling. There won't be any other distractions. It'll just be a place where you can get inspiration for your business. The next thing you want to do, and you don't really have to do this right now, but I'm going to talk about it right now, is you should at some point create a business bank account with a debit card. I highly recommend doing this because it'll be so much easier to keep track of all of your expenses, and then when it comes to tax season, you'll have everything all in one place. You can also create a business email. I just use a Gmail account. You can get a fancier one if you want. You don't have to. This one I do really recommend, especially if you're going to be shipping out packages, is I would definitely get a Google phone number and a PO box. All the packages that you send will need a return address and phone number, so you don't want to be giving out your personal address and phone number. Having a PO box can be kind of expensive, so I kind of mooch off my mom because she also has a small business, and I mooch off of her PO box, so I'm honestly not sure how much they cost, but I would highly recommend getting a PO box. The Google phone number is free, but yeah, definitely get a PO box so you don't give out your address. My advice for materials is try your best to start as low cost as possible. I would start by writing a list of every single item that you think you need for your small business, and then figure out which ones are absolutely essential to start and which ones you could potentially buy later. Like, for example, if you want to sell hoodies, you absolutely need hoodies to start. That is non-negotiable. But something that you may not need to start right away is a thermal label printer. If you already have a printer, you can just print the shipping labels on that. You don't need to buy a thermal label printer. You're also going to have to think about what softwares you need to buy. Are you going to need Canva to help you create designs? Are you going to need Procreate to help you draw? Maybe you'll need Notion for planning, or CapCut or Final Cut Pro for video editing. And then once you have this list of everything that you need to start, now you can go back and look at that original number of how much money you wanted to invest in your business to start and see if this is within your budget. Okay, now we're going to talk about actually getting started with your small business. I would not recommend doing this until you have all of your products ready to go, but the first thing on this list is you're going to want to set up your website, either your Etsy or your website. If it's Etsy, make sure that you fill out your bios, add your profile picture, like every single page that you can possibly add information to, make sure you fill out. And same thing if you're creating your own website, you're going to need a home page, a product page, probably a contact me page, and maybe an about me page. The next thing you want to do is you want to make a logo. It doesn't have to be anything fancy to start out, just make a simple logo. You can pay somebody on Fiverr, you can do it yourself on Canva. You'll also need to set up all of the shipping stuff. So that means you're gonna have to measure the size of your packages and see how much they weigh to calculate the cost of shipping. If you're really nervous about shipping, I would recommend just sticking to domestic before you do international. That way you can build confidence and figure out any issues with domestic orders, because once you go international, it gets a little bit more complicated. Okay, I'm not really sure where to talk about this, but I'm gonna talk about it here. I would not recommend using ads on Etsy, on your website, on social media. I've never used ads. I don't recommend them. There's a couple reasons why. I'm not saying ads don't work. Some people use them and they've had success with them. I just personally think that you don't need ads to have a successful business. As long as you're creating social media content, your social media content should be enough of an advertisement for your website. And if it's not, then I would just focus on improving your content for free rather than dumping money into ads. For your website or Etsy, make sure you're taking good product photos. This is so important. You could have an amazing product, but if the product photo looks really bad, then nobody's gonna buy it. It's sad, it's unfortunate, but it's just the truth. When you're taking good product photos, you absolutely need good lighting. This is non-negotiable. It will make a world of difference for your product photos. You can't just take a picture on your carpet or with a weird background, but taking good product photos will really help your sales. The next thing you also wanna do is fill out all of the product details. People wanna know all of the details of what they're buying. They wanna know how it was made, what materials it's made of, and like all that other information. So just put as much as you can in the item description. And the next thing you have to do is you have to figure out your prices. And if you're not sure how to price something, I would recommend looking at what other people are pricing similar products for and see how yours compares to theirs. When you're coming up with prices though, it's really important that you consider the cost of the products and the time that you spent making it. So the next step is going to be preparing our social media accounts. The first thing you're going to want to do is make sure that you fill out your bio. When people come to your page, whether it's YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, your page is like your business card. It's the first thing that people see and it's their first impression of you. It's unfortunate, but we are all judgmental people and we make a really quick decision of whether or not we want to follow somebody. So if you have a really clear bio that explains what you're selling and what your page is about, it makes people more likely to follow you. The next thing you're going to want to do is make something like a link tree and add it to your bios. If you're not sure what a link tree is, it's basically one link that leads to all of your links. So if people click on your link tree, then they can see all of your social media accounts, your website, and any other things that you want to link there. So this is really helpful, like if people find you on Instagram and then they can find your website and also go follow you on YouTube. So it just keeps everything in one place. This is also the part where you're going to decide if you want to focus on short form content like TikTok, YouTube Shorts, and Instagram, or long form content like YouTube videos. Whichever one you're more motivated to do, I would recommend picking. But if you're not sure, I would highly recommend short form content. There's so many reasons I would recommend short form over long form to start, but the main one is you don't have to earn the click. So you could spend 10 hours making and editing a YouTube video. Your YouTube video could be super entertaining and amazing, but if nobody clicks it, then it's just a giant waste of time. Versus for short form content like Instagram or TikTok, the videos just get shoved in your face and you don't really have to earn the click. You have a better chance of people watching your video. It's also usually a lot faster to make short form videos, so it allows you to make more content. The other really nice thing is that you can repurpose it between multiple platforms. So if you make one short form video, you can post it on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube Shorts. So that's what I would recommend, but you can do whatever you want. The next thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to create a content schedule. Of course, more is better, but the last thing you want to do is burn yourself out. So just do what feels achievable for you. So you can kind of start thinking about what type of content you want to post, whether you want it to be trendy or inspirational or educational or funny. It really helps if you start gaining inspiration early. That way, when it's time for you to start posting, you don't have to worry about what to post and you already have a bunch of ideas ready for you. The next thing you want to do is you want to pick a launch day. All of the products that you set up earlier on either Etsy or your website, you can keep set as a draft until it's time for your website to go live, and then you can set them to active. A lot of people recommend starting to post before your website goes live. That way you can gain some traction. I don't want to say that that doesn't work. That's just not what I did. I started my Etsy and then immediately started posting. Once you're ready to launch, or when you're ready to make your first social media post, but you're not sure what to post, I would really recommend looking at what other accounts do for inspiration. You can do a simple introduction post like, "Hi, my name is Sarah and I'm starting this business," or you can post about one of your products, or you can share your journey. The worst thing you can do is overthink the first post so much that you never even end up posting at all. Your website is live, you've posted on social media, and now you have your first order. This is where you want to double check that you have all of the packaging supplies that you need. I have a ton of different shipping supplies because I ship tons of different products. So for my flat items, I use bubble mailers. For bigger items, I use boxes. I also use poly mailers to protect items that aren't waterproof. You can purchase shipping labels directly through Etsy or Shopify. And this is so much better than going to the post office and handing them your package because your rates will be so much cheaper if you do it through Etsy or Shopify. And then once you've packed up the item and you have the shipping label on it, then all you have to do is go drop it off at the post office. The last steps I have are not things that you really need to do immediately, but at some point I would recommend doing these things, so I just kind of added them here at the end. Make sure that you are responding to all of your comments. This is so important. Responding to comments not only helps your engagement, but it also really helps create a genuine community for people who enjoy your art. People are really craving that people-to-people connection, so if somebody takes the time to write a comment, you should really try to make sure that you can respond to it. Another thing that's really helpful after you've gained a little bit of a following is becoming an Amazon influencer. This is so helpful because this is where you can create your own Amazon storefront and get affiliate links. I would also really recommend at some point creating an LLC. Again, I'm not a financial expert, so don't quote me on this, but an LLC is basically just a way to protect you and your personal assets from your business. I would also recommend setting up some sort of email marketing. I know everybody says to do this and it's really helpful and I do it too, but man, I hate email marketing. I send out emails like once a month and I honestly wish I could send them out less because I don't like getting emails and I don't want to bother people, but you can do what I do and I just send out a monthly newsletter. These days, all of the email brands tell you about how they can create some AI email and send it out for you, but I really would not recommend doing that. Your customers will be really unhappy. Another thing that's kind of helpful to do once you have a little bit more of a following is create a media kit and start reaching out to brands for collaborations. Doing collaborations is a really great way to get your name out there and work with other people in your niche. There's other YouTube video tutorials that will teach you how to make this, but it's kind of just like a resume for your social media. So those are literally all of the steps that you need to take to start your own small business. Try your best not to get discouraged if you don't get sales right away. It doesn't mean that your products are bad or that you should give up. It just means that you might need more time or you might have to figure out what's not working. Everybody's small business journey will look different. The best thing you can do is just keep trying and have confidence in you and your products, because at the end of the day, if you're not confident enough in your own products, how can you expect other people to be? I know it can be hard, but you have to be in this mindset that you are a small business owner, you do have a successful business, and you're on your way to growing it. If you take anything away from this video, the best thing that you can do is stop waiting and just start. So that's all I have for you guys today. I really hope that you found this video helpful. If you enjoyed this video and you want to see more small business content from me, I would really appreciate it if you would consider subscribing. But thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!